the states because of the cuts in funding and all along those lines. But how is public television done in Canada? I do know that there was a couple of very popular shows, including some popular comedy shows that came out of Canada. I remember definitely some of those shows back in the day and everything like that. But how is the Canadian media handled now for those that are watching Pod TV that don't get enough coverage of Canada TV? And can you get Canada TV like you can Pod TV on the various internet networks and everything like that? So, how many of the stations there are you able to get coverage of? Because I know both you and Ivan are oftentimes getting coverage from what's going on in Ukraine and everything. So, I know that there's a very active media group there in Ukraine, but I was wondering how it is in Canada and then also in Ukraine. So, because that would be
In
one.
Canada, most people are watching CBC, it's Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. They have a news program at 10 o'clock. A lot of people are watching that. It covers most topics which have something to do with Canada, Canadian politics, because they do offer the point of view on the Ukrainian war. For sure, Canada helps a lot. Ukraine and the population in Canada mostly is very sympathetic to continue help to Ukraine. Um, they're talking a lot about trading war between Canada and the United States. However, the latest signals apparently there is no such thing as war. It's all over and done. Canada is completely now involved in com- completion of the new uh, trade associations with European Union, South Korea, Japan, Mexico, and even China. So all that will backfire on the United States tremendously because, see, from industrial point of view, Canada has almost everything what United States has, either through their own factories or factories which were set up by US and perhaps still owned by US interests, but they are incorporated in Canada, and therefore Canada has all rights for the production of this. So essentially right now there are a lot of people from European Union and China even and other countries that are sourcing Canadian industrial products completely to replace US industrial products. If that's the case, there will be no longer need for US production of any kind. That will be the end of story, and then Trump can take his tariffs and eat it.
Sounds interesting. Everything. Hey, Dr. Sharif, what is the media like in Bangladesh? This is the media show, and I love, as you told me said earlier, to learn different parts of the world and what they've got going on. So let me put him on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you're on two cameras. So what were
yeah.
you saying about the media in that area?
Okay. In Bangladesh, you can see that we have two type of media. One is the private medias, like ATN Bangla, like Channel I, Boishaki televisions, and another part is like government media, like Bangladesh televisions, Bangladesh radio. This is part of the government. But beside that, I want to say another media is the social media. Social media become very popular in Bangladesh, specifically the Bangladeshi young people. They are very much uh, like engaged with the social media, with TikTok, with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with YouTube, and all of the social channels. So right now, even though this traditional media, they are transforming their media and all of the platform in social media because they get more views through the social media. Also, like if you see our national news and all of the coverage is based on the viral videos, like what is the viral news today, what is the great news for today, what people want to see, what people want to see. That is the things actually media is producing. So that's why many people are engaged in these industries. And right now, if you have your laptop or your mobile and internet connections, you can be a very good journal. But definitely, ethical journalisms I always prefer. Bangla is our mother tongue, so around 271 million people voted in Bangladesh and India. We speak in Bengali. Definitely, we have some religious view, but overall, our music, our cultures, our food, our dress, our all of the things has some similarities. Besides that, I want to say that our intellectual capacity, the Bangladeshi peoples, you find there that is very good. We have four Nobel laureate. One is Rabindranath Tagore, one is Dr. Mohammad Yunus. Right now, he is our country head, our chief advisor. Also, we have Abhijit Banerjee from India and Dr. Amartya Sen from India. Uh, Definitely, they have strong engagement with USA, but they are closely engaged with our economy and ecosystem. So, Bangladesh is a very vibrant culture. So, media is very vibrant, very colorful, very interesting. Uh, and step by step, Sport TV become popular in Bangladesh.
Yeah, it sounds like it's
Thank you.
becoming popular in Bangladesh and everything like that. I was going to ask Sasha about social media and all along those lines, so he might be coming back and we'll see if anybody else joins us as well and everything like that. But definitely it's been interesting to see what's going on. Has there been any more report of that in Bangladesh? I know you reported it on a couple of the shows, Crash, and any new reports as to what triggered it and what's going on and how are there any recovery efforts or how is that tragedy going as it's unfolding right now.
Right now, actually, many of the people actually rescue from this tragedy, and they are in hospital, in different hospital in Dhaka city, and they are in the burn unit. Most of the students, the young people, their body and everything is burned out. So they are doing these things, and we need blood. So many of the Bangladeshi people supporting with the blood donations to these students. But it's actually tomorrow. We said that all of our activities and everything will be closed because this is our national disasters. Uh, but according to my understanding, in terms of city plan, in terms of the strategy, how our air and aviation authorities are taking, I have strong question about that. But I believe that our government is smart. Our policymakers, they are very much keen to understand the situations, and they will solve all of the problem. But I think that we need global opportunities, we need global help, we need global partnerships, and all of them. And by this way, we can solve this complex problem. Uh, so thank you for your opportunities and all of you the great questions.
No, no problem at all. You mentioned because I know that here in the states and Jatovi here, you know better than I know, but there are certain shows and certain programs like Fortnite and others that are very popular here in the states. But I was just wondering, what are the young kids in Bangladesh getting involved in, and what are some of the popular games that they are engaged in that part of the world?
Uh, Look, actually, our we have our own culture, right? We have our own language, own things. Our Bangladeshi peoples, they are heavily utilizing the young people. They are utilizing uh, their own language for music, for singing, for traditional activities. But honestly speaking, because of media, because of social media, because of all of the things, Bangladeshi people or the young generation, they also like the Western culture, right? The open society, the open activities, and all of the things. So the Western communities, they are open-minded. Besides that, uh, we want freedom of speech. We want for open discussions, and you can find that for particular issues, our young generations, our young people, they go for revolution last year in July, and they sacrificed their life. 1,400 people died that times, and many people injured. Around 2,000 people they injured, but they are trying to restructuring. these things. But I do not know. This is our history. In 1952, Bangladeshi people they sacrificed their life for Bangla language. 1971's around 300,000 people sacrificed their lives for our freedoms. In 1991, also Bangladeshi people sacrificed for democracy, especially the young people. What I'm discussing from 1952 to until 1991, all of the young people. Still in 2024, the young people they actually come to the road and they sacrifice their life and reform this new government. So this is the historical things. Maybe the American history also same for the reformations, for the political culture, for the all of the things. I believe these young people they are amazing. Young people has their positive attitude. They have dream. They have attitude. They have personality. So that's why they are trying to protect their country for all of the bad things. I think this is an amazing story of revolutions. This is the amazing story of history making strategy. I think every country we definitely can learn from each other, but through this process, uh, actually we are restructuring our country, restructuring our uh, institutions. So that is very interesting time for Bangladesh. We need more global support.
It sounds like it's definitely an interesting time for Bangladesh and all along those lines. And definitely, we got some interesting news going on. As definitely there are some media related stories, so I might talk about some of them. And then if you want to chime in, we'll see what folks have to say. Maybe even some of those that are watching the show and everything, because it looks like one of them. And I was hoping Nick was going to be here. It looks like that there's some expansion into the Spanish market and everything like that, because it said that the Latin specialty distributor Glone Media has expanded into the U.S. with Spanish comedy, The Fantastic Golden Affairs, and I know he just moved to the country of Spain and everything like that. But it's definitely looks like they have got some comedy. I keep saying that even here on Pod TV, we need some drama shows and everything like that. So maybe you can help us find some drama shows and create some drama shows, because it says that Glowing Media, which until now is focused on releasing international movies into Latin America, is branching into U.S. distribution. So the Miami Beach-based specialty distributor will kick off its U.S. operation with the release of The Fantastic Golden Affairs by Spanish filmmaker duo Bernin Percebes, which consists of Joan Gonzalez and Fernando Martinez. So hey, I don't know. What do you think? Can we maybe help the network here create some kind of drama shows? Because I know that at one point we had Talking Upstream, and we had a couple of other shows, including Mr. Hennon, that were trying to develop some fiction type films. That's not the news films that we have already and everything like that. So maybe we can get them to do that, or maybe we have to attend some of these events, because it looks like Glowing, which acquired all the North American rights to this series, will open the film at New York's Quad Cinema on August 29th in the presence of the filmmakers. And then they'll have some other things going on with this festival that they're doing. And it looks like it's a sci-fi comedy. So maybe we can get them to do some sci-fi comedy or some other dramas and everything like that. So what is your take on maybe Pod TV having some creative shows and not just the news shows as well?
Yeah, this is interesting. At ProdTV have a plan to produce as a global media, so they can uh, definitely invite some talent for uh, like music, for singing, for drama, from magic, right? So
Right.
musicians, maybe some guitarists, some rock stars, some debaters, young politicians. Definitely, this is actually the vibrant cultures and all of the things they can invite, and through this process, Pot TV can grow and Pot TV can build as a real TV shows and
Yeah.
reality shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I have one thing. Look, like we always go for discussions and all of the things.
Mhm.
But when we can move, let's say I can build a very interesting story from Bangladesh, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can go for live show for festival, Bangladesh festival. We can go for live show for our band concert. movie and all of the things. But it's need, honestly speaking, investment. Uh, I don't know. USA has a lot of venture capitals and many other sorts of things. If Nick and Port TV can uh, help us to be a real producers, then we can bring a lot of interesting story, idea, reality show, uh, young, more audience, more activities in this strong network.
Yeah, the government can do that and everything like that. You mentioned earlier, I think it was on the news show about the garment industry and everything like that. I was just wondering, how is the fashion industry? Because I'd like to actually talk to a friend. We did a test run about doing a fashion show for the network, and she's a shopper, so she buys fashion for people and all along those lines. But I was just wondering, how is the fashion market in Bangladesh? Are there a lot of people that are
Yeah,
buying the stylish clothes, and are they kind of like following Western styles, or do you have your own unique style in terms of the way that the women dress, but also the gentlemen when they are going out to a night on the town or something like that? So, how is the fashion industry just in general, or style in Bangladesh?
yeah. Very interesting question. If you see our Bangladeshi culture, you can find that we have our own traditional dress.
Hmm.
Uh, let's say this Dr. Muhammad Yunus, you wear Punjabi. Punjabi is our traditional dress, right? We wear lungi. It's traditional dress. Women they wear shari. This is traditional dress. Beside that, Bangladesh, I always said that it's a garments. It's a hub of garments industry, right? So all of the big brand and the cloth industry, they buy their or they make their product from Bangladesh. So fashion industry is very rich in Bangladesh. Our garments industry is very rich as they are complied with Western world, as they have strong engagement with the strong Western world. So I believe uh, that we have a rich culture, very rich culture. So with these cultures and with definitely with the integrations of Western world, maybe we can integrate in a very interesting things. Maybe in with the sponsor of Pot TV, we can do another concert for Bangladesh. Let's say
Hmm.
in the 1971 in the US, Harrison and all of the famous musicians and people they organize the concert for Bangladesh. So maybe we can do another shows or concert with the Port TV with the combination of Bangladesh and USA. It may be very popular. It can be very cultural and very fruitful.
That could be a great idea. You remember we did a couple of fundraisers. I know that uh, Jeff Eachin did some that revolved around some of the disasters that were going on in terms of fires and stuff in California. So I know he did a couple of fundraisers. And I think you're trying to organize one around his show, which is, of course, around the legalization of marijuana and also trying to get people out that have been convicted for what many people consider a nonviolent crime and everything like that. So I know he was trying to organize, I want to say for next year, 2026, a concert and all along those lines. But of course, you got people like Kenny and my friend Ronnie Warner, who's been on the show, that's a filmmaker. So there's always those possibilities. And like I said, even on this network, I've been part of something called the Road to the Apollo, which was a more than 10 years. I think we did it for about 10 or 11 years. Talent show that started at the cultural center that I work at, and then moved around the state and went to different venues and all along those lines. So yeah, could be some possibilities of even doing some fundraisers. You remember we did the award show, and I know that Nick and Kim were talking about doing another version of the award show because I think we did that the first year of Pod TV, and of course a number of people won awards. I think I won two or three, and then I know you won a couple of awards as well. So maybe we'll bring the award show back as well, and those are some other things that maybe can possibly come back to fruition and everything like that. Do a lot of the young kids over there watch movies? Because one of the articles that I was reading and everything, and I just share this with you and our listeners, and then hear your thoughts around it. But it says movie theaters are in trouble here in the United States and everything. Gen Z is here to save them. That was an article that came out of the whole notion of Yahoo Entertainment. It said streaming may be dominant entertainment right now, but young adults are seeking real life community at the cinema community. They want to make it a experience. And it says when young people turn out at the movie theater in droves, they make headlines for flinging popcorn and screaming, accused of being antisocial homebodies. Some theaters have tried to lure them off their couches and into their seats by letting them keep their tiny beacons of lights and distraction out during phone-friendly screenings. Some say they're willing to turn their hollow dolls into amusement parks, and I've even seen that even some of the things around here in North Carolina, and they've added bowling lanes and roller coasters like 4DX screenings, all to boost their offerings and keep the hollow tradition of theater going alive in the digital areas. Matter of fact, I think there's one movie theater that's near me and everything, and not that far from it is a comedy club and everything like that. So they're doing some different things like that where they're trying to make it like even here they've got movie theaters where it's also an all-around experience. You're not just watching the movie, but you might have dinner because it might also be a restaurant or something like that. So I just wondering, what are they doing there? Are y'all going to the traditional movies, or most people just kind of watching the movies on streaming? Because here they say American surveys say they prefer to wait to see a new movie when it's available on streaming, 61%, rather than see it in the theaters, 23%. But young adults under 30 are the age group most likely to head to the cinema, according to the poll. About half of those have seen a movie at a theater in the past 6 months, and 60% in the past year. And when a new movie comes out, respondents under 30 were most likely to say they would see it in the theaters. 31% was waiting for it to become available on streaming compared to adults 30 and older. So it looks like the young people, while not exactly rushing to the movies, they're doing more rushing to the movies than say the older folks are. So I just want to know, do y'all have a lot of folks still going to the old traditional movies?
Yeah, this is very good question. Very good questions, and this is the new generations. Most of the peoples, yes, we have our theaters. Bangladeshi theaters is very popular. Uh, 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 we have our TVs, and we have our uh, like hall for cinema and movie and all of the things. But recently, all of the young generation they do more focus on internet. So that's why more of the streaming movie, new movie, is start come to the online. So OTT platform. Most of the people they like the OTT platform. They just subscribe and go for the OTT platform for doing this kind of things. But overall, if you want to understand our media and all of the things, I find that it's creating the awareness among students and parents. Uh, they have very good interest about the Western world, about USA, about Canada, and all of the things. And beside that, if you want to know more about our local media, I just want to mention few names. Uh, let's say BD News, Daily Star, Prothom Alo, Jugantor, Bangla Tribunes. Uh, if you want to see the TV channel and YouTube channel, you can see TV channel as a Channel I, ATN Bangla, NTV, Ekattur, and YouTube also very popular in our particular area. Uh, but one thing I just want to share that many people, young people do TikTok, right? They share their lifestyle, they share their all of the things. We are observing many TikTok, the people engage with the TikTok. Recently, I saw that what TV also engage with TikTok, right? So I see one of the things, one of the small video of me and this what is name from your show.
Yeah.
He's just discussing about Bangladesh, how Bangladesh can get benefits. So this is interesting, very interesting. But I have one question for you. As long time you involved in media, and
Say
you are
what?
long time you involved in media, you are media guy,
Yeah,
like
I've been involved in news.
producing podcast and all of the things. So,
Mhm.
what is the culture of USA media, and what is your philosophy? W- how you get all of your energy to dedicate all of your time in developing podcast and everything?
Like I said, it's definitely a long process and everything like that. Because as you know, I produce a number of shows for even this network and everything like that. So I probably average somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from 5 to 8 hours a day on different people's shows and everything like that, because oftentimes they will plan out their show, and then they will, if it's planned out, then I will just follow their outline that they have, and I will create the link for them, and then they will run the show that they want to and everything like that, because I'm not one of those people that try to dictate what my talent does and all along those lines. That's one of the things I like about Pod TV, is it gives people a lot of freedom to put out their own viewpoints and their own thoughts and things along those lines. And there's a couple of shows that are on hiatus, but they may be coming back. Like Jacoby's got his Gamers Den that hasn't had an episode in a while, but hopefully it'll come back in the not too distant future and everything like that. But if you just take today as a typical day, I started off with World Edition. Steve opened it up, and I was glad that he opened it up this particular time, because as you know, last several days I've been opening it up, and actually several weeks, because he's in the middle of a campaign, but he's had some time off, so he opened it up today. And then we had our typical discussion. You know, sometimes we'll have a guest on, and sometimes I'll send out letters during the course of the day to different people to see if they are available to be guests on the show. And if you've got any guests that you think would be great to be on the show, just send me their information, and I'll reach out to them, because I just send out like a letter asking them, telling them about Pod TV and asking them if they'd like to be on the show and everything. And then we went from World Edition to David Walker, and David Walker talks about the economy. We had a very in-depth conversation about the economy on today, and now we're in the middle of talking about the media. And right after this media show, we'll go into a show around timeshares, which can have some folks that are being less than scrupulous in the way that they plan their timeshare. So Miss Irene does that show, and she tries to help rescue people from bad deals and all along those lines. And she's actually rescued and saved a lot of money from people that were in bad deals and all in that kind of space. So she does a great job in terms of being a advocate. And I've seen some other folks, even on other networks, that do these advocate shows, kind of like these consumer reports, or kind of like where people have been hit or conned from different people. It might be a plumber that gave them a bad deal, or it might be an electrician or a car dealer that gave them a bad deal, and then they will go and do reports on them, even on some of our local networks and everything like that. So it is a form of advocacy journalism and everything like that. And then I have the radio show on Monday nights, which Monday afternoons, which lately has been a rerun of whatever I did on Wednesday, even though occasionally I'll have an original episode. And then kind of this evening, we've got some other shows that I'll be part of. Dr. Anthony, who usually does her show around education, and she's there in DC and everything like that. And then Maxine, who is a business guru and does a lot of stuff about self-help and things along those lines. She'll come on at 7 o'clock. And then there's a show called Remixing Politics and Culture with Pam that comes on. It's actually recorded on Sunday, but we air it on Saturday, because some of the shows on Pod TV are like yours, are done at a set time, but then we re-air them at our designated time, whatever that designated time is. I think we re-air yours on Tuesday and Thursday mornings and all along those lines. So like I said, this is something I've been involved in for a number of decades. My parents started a radio station in 1976 when I was a teenager. I think I was 14 at that time. And they started that in rural North Carolina because they did not hear enough jazz, which they are big fans of. They also didn't hear enough conversations around environmental issues and race issues and a number of other kinds of issues. So versus trying to wait for others to do it for them, they created their own and had to go through the whole FCC process, because in order to get a license, you have to get it approved by the government and everything like that. So they went through the FCC process, got that radio station, and that station stayed on for about 12 years and all on those lines, or maybe a little bit less. But I know we came on in 76, and I think we went off around 86 or 87, something like that. So I think it was close to 10 or 11 years and everything like that. But it also led to jobs for my parents. My dad went off and became, at some point in his career, and he's now in his mid-80s, a professor in media at UNC and everything like that. I think he also taught some courses at Duke just as part of his academic career. And Mom ran a nonprofit, but it was also on some media outlets, including being one of the original hosts of Black Issues Forum, which is a minority television show on our local PBS affiliate, and all along those lines. So like I said, definitely some rich ties to the media that I've had for a while, including having worked for some newspapers, including one in Boca Raton, working as an intern for one in Sherman Parks, which is a suburb of Milwaukee, and everything like that. And of course, working for my campus paper as well, way back in the 80s when I was in school, and also working at radio stations, and still do some columns every once in a while and some freelance writing every blue moon or something like that. So definitely this media stuff. And I've also done radio as well. So I've been in this media game for a while, and it's been interesting watching its growth because right now it's a lot of opinionated talk show hosts, and a lot of times they are biased talk show hosts in my mind, which is why I like to get different people's viewpoints. I don't always agree with everybody that I am talking to or that I'm interviewing and everything. And I've even had some conspiracy theorists that have been on, and I definitely didn't agree with everything like they said. Because I had one interview with somebody that was a flat earther, meaning that they think that the earth is flat and not round, which is what most scientists think, and everything like that. So definitely I've had some interesting interviews and some fascinating ones, but it's been interesting watching the media become more that everybody can become their own journalist, because as you just said earlier, social media has allowed everybody to have their own voice in media and create their own kind of like stations and their own voice, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Clubhouse, whether it's on a number of these platforms. So it's allowed many people to have varying voices, which can be a good thing, but then you've got to comb through it and comb out some of the BS as well.
Okay, nice. But like, let's say I produce every week two show for Pot TV. How do I know? My people know that it's actually streaming in Pot TV.
That's what I'm
What show?
saying. And I try to be reliable on that, but you have a designated slot. Your slot is Tuesday before World Edition. So I have to make sure this evening that I find one of your shows. It'll probably be the one you did on uh, creativity and innovation, which you just recently did, and that will air on Tuesday at what World Edition is at 10. I think your show is on at 9 or something like that. But it's all on the schedule. But I just got to make sure that I put it up there, or Sean, our engineer that helps with the scheduling as well, does it as well. But for the most part, we try to make sure that people are following the schedule that exists and everything like that. But like anything, we are humans, and humans do make mistakes sometimes. So I do know that there might have been a time here or there where I have missed the show. But for example, I know that Sasha's chess show, he records it on Friday, but it airs on Saturday, which means I had to put it on at 3 o'clock. Same for, I'll just give it another example. Same for who I just mentioned earlier, the show about politics and culture with Pam and everything like that. That's Pam Purifoy, and it's all around political discussions and cultural discussions and things in that line. She records that on her channel on Sunday. So she recorded it last night. Tonight I have to download it at some point and put it at her designated time, and her time is right after Maxine. So she's slated for 8 o'clock. So I got to make sure that it's running at 8 o'clock tonight and everything like that. But like I said, with any media thing, we are all human, and we all sometimes are off schedule and things like that. So I'd be lying if I told you that I am always all there on schedule, but I try to be as reliable as possible.
Thank you. This is meaningful. This is meaningful. So, what is the future of Pot TV? How Pot TV want to position themselves in next 5 years? What's
That's
your
more of a question for like Nick and Kim, but my understanding is that they would like to have some uh, outlets where everybody is able to see their stuff on their own platforms. I know that Kim has been frustrated by Facebook and has been talking about like this network of creating her own social media, like Pod TV Chatter and stuff like that. But definitely, I know for a fact that Nick re-airs a lot of the shows to what could be called interest groups and things like that. So I know that, for example, if say that there's a show about timeshares, so he'll put it in different timeshares groups. If there's a show about chess, he'll put it in different chess groups. If your show is about Bangladesh, you'll find out groups on Facebook and in LinkedIn that are about Bangladesh, and talk to their admins and try to get it aired to those platforms and everything. But the goal, from my understanding, is to make it as solvent a network as possible and to make it a reliable network where you're able to know when a show will run, what time it'll run, how long it'll run, and to have it run to a variety of platforms in order to be seen by more and more people and everything like that. So, I've been talking to them about something called fast channels, which I know even Dr. Phil has, which can get you an even wider audience and can have people like Roku and Amazon Fire and others even promoted on their network. So not just being on their network, but also having them promoted on their network. So, but those things cost money in terms of advertising and everything like that. So definitely there are different ways that it's being out there. And of course, people can also put it in their social media outlets and put it in their outlets as well. So like if you've got a network of people, I mean, I was just talking to a guy that's got a network that's like a speaking group here in this area of 900 people, and I might have him, if he comes on the show, share it to his group of 900, which would be another 900 people watching, and hopefully those 900 have 10 or 15 friends. So if you do the mathematics, eventually you can have, just off of one group, uh, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people watching a show and everything like that. So that's what, but I do know that they're hoping to make this uh, a regular network and be here for a while and everything like that. Neither of them are spring chicken. So what their passive succession is. I don't know if they're planning to pass it on to their family members or what things will be done in that space, or pass it on to those of us that have been engaged in the network. That would be a conversation that would be have to have as they get older and as the network grows in popularity. But right now, it's not a concern because neither one of them seem to be in. I mean, I know Kim just had some health issues, but neither one of them seem to be in overly bad health or anything like that. But it's like any business, you got to have a succession plan. Otherwise, the business can fold. I even saw that with the Carolina Times, which is one of our local black presses and everything. So they went through three generations, and by the time they got to the fourth generation, they didn't want to have anything to do with the paper, so the paper doesn't exist anymore. So you do need to have a succession plan, meaning that when people pass or they decide to retire or whatever, that the network or whatever the media outlet is continues to go and everything like that. Even with the radio station I said my parents had, I'm sure me and my younger brother would have taken it over, but we were dependent on both government funding as well as support from the community and other things. And during the 80s, when we went totally out of business, or actually I think we sold the network with the network platform to a college, or if I remember correctly, but I'd have to ask mom about that and how that was transfer was done and everything like that. But even in that case, you've got to have a plan as to how it will be done and all along those lines. And of course, we were hit by the economics of the time and everything like that. So even world economics and national economics can impact your media career as well.
Hmm. Very interesting. So, do you have any CSR activities right now
Do I
from
have
your
to what?
corporations? CSR, corporate social responsibility, like this kind of activities under POT TV or
I'm sorry.
anything?
What kind of activities?
I say CSR, corporate social responsibility, like
Oh,
not
social
corporate.
responsibilities. I mean, there are a couple of people on the network that have shows that are dealing with social issues and things along those lines. I think Barbara does a good job of that. There are a couple of others that have shows that deal with social responsibilities or being activists. Even some of my shows, I try to have a number of, like the online dinner party, I try to have a number of activists that come on and explain why they do the activism that they do and everything, whether it's in fields around uh, police fairness, or whether it's in fields like around environment, or whether it's in fields like other things that are socially responsible and all along those lines. But yeah, there are a couple of folks. I know Grant McGaw has had some folks on his show that are in that space and everything. Even Rick Rosner has had discussions, and his show is kind of like a point counterpoint, meaning that there is Rick being fairly liberal, fairly moderate to liberal, and then his friend Lance is super conservative. But they have whole conversations around politics and social justice and things like that. So there are some shows that are in that space, but that is some other shows that we're exploring. I've got a friend that's in the science field, and I'm trying to get him to create a show that would be science related and things along those lines. So I'm always open because I'm pretty much the de facto program director to anybody's ideas of shows that they would like to do and to get those shows on the ground and everything. Even when me and Kim went to Miami to that media conference, we met some people that were in the comic field. They were comedians, and we were talking to them about doing a comedy show and everything like that. So we're always open to shows. And I personally, because I mean, my dad was an activist and still is an activist, and as is mom, as far as I'm concerned, and everything like that. So I come from a family of activists. So anybody that's doing anything that is social media or social justice related, I'm all for that. So there's even shows that are social justice. I mean, one of the best shows that we've got is every Friday. It's called Stella Adams does it, and it's called Doing Justice Brings Joy. So that's what that whole show is about, is being a social advocate and fighting against injustice. And that's every Friday at noon and everything like that. And she's even gotten to the point where she doesn't need a producer and everything. She can self-produce her show, much the way that you self-produce your show and everything like that. So I may come in and ask her some questions or give her some advice, but she does her own programming and everything like that. So she creates her own show off of the link that I provide her and everything like that. So yeah, definitely that is a very popular social justice show that exists on the network. I mean, we've also got a show around housing, and they sometimes deal with justice as well, but it's more about interior design, and that's the one that Jeanette Chasworth does, that's out of California. And then we have another young lady that I think is out of Indiana, and she does one about, and these are all, for the most part, live shows. She does one around the cruise industry. And then Lisa Hughes, who's a lovely lady out of Indiana, a professor out of Indiana, she does one about relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about romantic relationships, but it covers the spectrum of romantic relationships, everything from straight relationships to gay relationships, Muslim relationships to Christian relationships, relationships that exist even among the swinger community, and the different relationships that might exist out there. So they are very open about having discussions around relationships. And that show, she records that on Tuesday, and then it airs on our network on Thursday, right after Coco McMillan and everything like that. So it airs around 7 o'clock on Thursdays on Pod TV.
Very interesting. So this is very good discussions in terms of the development strategy, media contribution in the emerging economy, and all of the things. Uh, but I think that every month or every 3 months, if we can go for all of the producer go for a discussions, we can discuss different views from different countries and how we can collaborate and how we can help each other to solve this complex problem. Maybe it can create a good bonding in between the producer of different shows. It can
Yeah.
create a positive
But
impact.
you remember we used to do those on Zoom and everything, and I've asked Nick and Kim to do those again and everything, and who knows, maybe they'll do them. I know that those of us that are fortunate enough to live in North Carolina, and this was before Nick moved, you would sometimes have meetings with Nick directly and everything. But yes, for those that are like yourself in Bangladesh, or Jim Eid and Jeff Icon, who are in California, or folks that are around the country, then yes, I think that a Zoom meeting where we can sit back and have discussions, or it might even be that it's a show where we kind of like, because I remember the early days of Pod TV, we had people from all over the globe, whether it was Australia, whether it was New Zealand, whether it was yeah, I think what's his name, Ben, came in from England. There was even a young lady that came in off of her yacht because she was known as a e-queen, like an eBay kind of queen or something like that. She was known for her social media and selling a lot of items and everything. But she came in on a regular basis, and there was a number of other folks that came in, including the young lady that I think has moved. I want to say she's moved to Africa or something like that, but at one point she was in Israel, and she was like a spiritual type lady and everything. So yeah, those possibilities, even with the World Talent Showcase that I know you and Nick are working on, and I actually think y'all are working on two different shows, because I think that he is having an idea of a traditional talent show, kind of like America Got Talent or something like that, and I think yours, it sounds more like a pitch deck show where you're getting entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas and all along those lines and everything like that. So actually, I think that y'all really are creating two separate shows, but that's just my what I'm hearing you say, what I'm hearing him say, and everything like that. So it sounds like two different shows in my mind and everything, or maybe it's two, or maybe it's one show that has two sections. But either way, it can definitely be done and all along those lines. But yeah, but I think a group call would be great, but I'd have to talk to Nick and Kim and figure out whether they can organize that or if they want me to organize it on Zoom or something like that. But yeah, those are great ideas, and we can definitely try to get that to happen and everything like that. So we'll see what their ideas are and maybe see if we can't create that kind of opportunity and all along those lines. But right now it's about time for us to end because I got to get ready to get and or to double check because she can produce her own show as well, Irene, and make sure that things are going well with her show, which is the show about timeshares and all along those lines. So got to see if I can find this particular show, which is supposed to be the media show, but of course they move stuff around because StreamYard likes to do adjustments as well. I do see the folder and everything. So, Doc, it's been fun talking to you, and I'll see you tomorrow. So I'll send you an invitation. We'll have some more conversations on tomorrow. But yeah, we're getting ready to get on out of here and get to our next show.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
Thank you
no
for
problem.
all of your great work.
Thank you. Appreciate you.